It's coming.
All these voices. All these voices. All these things you can't explain. All these painful memories. They keep haunting you. It's daunting me. It's just a ghost of you and me. It's just a smoking gasoline. It's just a ghost of you and me. Of you and me. All these whispers.
My name is James Hershey. Right back.
All these shadows in my mind. But my reflection I can't find. It's just a ghost of you and me. It's just a smoking gasoline. It's just a
That ought to
ghost
do
of
it.
you and me. Of you and me. Don't let 'em take you away. Don't let 'em bring you down inside. It's just the mirrors in your mind. Don't let 'em bring you down.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Staring into the Abyss. I am your host, horror author James Hershey Jr., and with me, as always, my co-host, old boy James Ash. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. How you doing tonight, brother?
Tonight's show is going to be a kind of interesting one because, well, first let me explain to you how we do what we do. As we've said many times on these shows, we actually do this in real life. We hunt these things, we go out and do investigations, and we go and we help people. And sometimes it's like a haunted kind of case where you're dealing with ghosts or a demonic possession, that kind of thing. And sometimes it's actual creatures that we go after. The way we get our cases is usually either somebody contacts us and wants our help, or we see something and we say, hey, look at that. That's kind of neat. You know, some kind of legend or some kind of newspaper article or something like that that talks about a sighting. And it's in the area where we happen to be in, so we go and we check it out. And then sometimes they find us, and that's what happened this time. I want to talk about a brand new case that we're starting, and it's not really a case for anybody. It's kind of a hunt that we're getting, or at least I'm getting ready to go on. I went out the other day to my car, and I had a full day plan because I had to take a lady to her cancer treatments. I've been taking her through her whole treatments and making sure she's good. And that's what I had planned for that day. So I had a full day of sitting in the car and sitting in the hospital waiting rooms and all that kind of stuff. So I start the car up and I happen to notice that there's something on the windshield. Now, I don't notice exactly what it is yet because it's like down in the lower left-hand corner of the windshield. And I kind of saw it out of the corner of my eye, but my old lady was coming out of the house and it's cold right now. It's winter. So I couldn't mess about. You know, I had to get down to the porch to pick her up because I live way out in the mountains. So I park my car up by my barn, which is, I don't know, about 100 yards away from my door. So I walk all the way up there to the car and I, you know, start it up and everything. And then I come down and I pick my old lady up so she don't have to walk all the way up there. So I didn't have a whole lot of time to really think about what I had seen. It was just there. So I jump in, I see it, I start the car, I get it down there so that I can pick my old lady up. The first thing she says when she gets in the car is, "What in the hell is that?" And I had already forgotten that I had seen something on my windshield, and I said, What? She said that, and she pointed right at what I had been looking at. And I said, yeah, I was wondering what the hell that was. And I looked at it, and it looked literally, I'm going to tell you what it looks like. It looked like somebody or something, more likely, had put their hand on my windshield. There was a print on my windshield. Now you might think, well, so what? But this print was a lot different than a normal handprint would be. First of all, it was a lot larger than a normal person's handprint. I am 6'5", 300 pounds. I'm a damn giant. I have hands that are larger than most people's head. And it was bigger than my hand. So whatever left this thing was huge. Secondly, it did not have 4 fingers and a thumb like a human handprint would. It had 3 very large fingers and 1 opposable thumb. But that wasn't the only thing that was strange about it. At the end of those fingertips was a pointy claw. Now my first thought wasn't that something was coming after me. My first thought wasn't, oh my God, I've got a monster in my house. My first thought, honestly, was, what the hell kind of animal left that? Because we have bear, we have mountain lion, we have all kinds of things up here. But like I said before, it's winter, it's cold. So the bears are all hibernating. And it doesn't match a bear's print anyway. A bear's print has 5 stubby, fat toes. Well, it really has 4 toes and the one little opposable toe that's almost like a thumb, but it's right up beside the other 4. So it does not match a bear print whatsoever. Also, the fingers were a lot longer than what a bear's print would have been and more spaced apart. So I started going through my mind and trying to decide and think what the hell could make this print that lives in this area. I racked my brain and I honestly could not come up with an answer as far as a regular animal that could have left that. Now my old lady, of course, she saw it and instantly her mind went to the scariest possible place it could go. That there's some kind of alien or some kind of monster that has left this print, because it's scary looking. I'm not going to lie. It did not look like a normal animal print. It looked like some kind of big scary monster it looked like claws, like giant wicked claws had left a print on my windshield. For everybody listening, I will be putting a picture of this on the YouTube video when we put this on YouTube. For the people on the radio, you can go to the YouTube channel and you can check that out. I'm going to warn you ahead of time, it's not a great picture. I took dozens of pictures of this, trying to get a good picture. But if I took it from the outside, I just got a picture of me taking a picture. And if I took it from the inside, I got a picture of what was past the prints. It was hard to get them in focus correctly. Finally, we managed to get a decent picture. I'm not going to say a good picture, a decent picture. So I'll be putting that on the YouTube video so you guys can look at it for yourself and see what you think. But like I said, I had hit a dead end as far as terrestrial normal animals that this could be. So I decided what I would do is I would approach this like I would approach a normal case, which means I would get in touch with Old Boy and I would send him my pictures and see what he thought about it. So we have a little group thing on Facebook for the Tales from the Abyss TV show where all of the cast members are in this little group chat. So I sent it there so that everybody could get a look at it and see what they thought of the pictures. Everybody kind of came to the same conclusion as me, is there's really no animal that matches this. So I started thinking, what could it be? Now, the possibilities were endless in the beginning. I mean, it could have been aliens, it could have been a shapeshifter, it could have been a skinwalker, it could have been any number of crazy things that could have possibly left this print. But then I started thinking, what have I seen here at the house? Now, here at the house, I have not seen werewolves running around. I have not seen skinwalkers running around. I have not seen shapeshifters. But what I have seen was a Bigfoot here. Now, that happened one night. I was outside smoking a cigarette back when I used to smoke. And I was waiting for my old lady to get off work. Because this was the time back when we still had normal jobs, before I had a radio show and I was a best-selling author and all that kind of stuff. So we were just normal people back then, working normal jobs. So she's getting ready to get off work. Now she was a manager at a Wendy's and she got off late. So when she came home, it was very, very dark. Once again, we live up in the mountains, so it's not like living in a town or a city where you have a lot of street lights. So when she gets home, it is dark, dark. So I like to go out there and be outside to make sure that she gets in okay. Because there are bear, there are cougars, there are bobcats, there are a lot of different things that would just love to snack on you that live up here in the mountain. So I like to be outside and make sure that she gets in safely. So that's what I'm doing this night. We have a very long driveway, and I see her headlights coming up. So I know, okay, cool. So I put my cigarette out. I figure she's going to want to smoke one when she gets home too, so I light up another. I smoked a lot back then. She stops the car and gets out, and I walk over with her and make sure she's cool. We get back up by the porch, and we're standing there smoking our cigarettes. I kind of get this feeling like something's watching me. And there's a weird kind of smell. I can't quite place it, but it's just gross. It doesn't smell very good. It smells almost like a wet dog, that kind of smell. About that time, my old lady goes, "What the hell is that up there?" Now, as I've already mentioned, my old lady, right away, her mind goes to the scariest possible place. She's kind of scared of her own shadow when it comes to these kind of things. So right away, she thinks, oh my God, there's something crazy up there going to kill us. I think probably just a bear. Not a big deal. I know that for people that aren't used to bears, that sounds like a big deal. Having a bear in the yard, but trust me, it's not that big a deal. Bears usually, unless you're dealing with grizzlies, will just leave you alone. They don't want no problem. If you don't mess with them, they won't mess with you usually. Now, if you walk up on them when they got their cubs with them, whole different story. I've been rolled down a hill by one when they had their cubs. I'll tell that story sometime in the future. Funny story. I probably told it already before. I'm old, so I tell stories over and over and over again. Anyway, I think it's something normal, not a big deal, but I am the man. I am her husband. It is my duty to check it out. So I look up towards the barn where she's pointing, thinking I'm going to see a bear or some other normal thing that I've seen a million times. Instead, what I see is what appears to be a gigantic person. And when I say gigantic, I mean huge. As I said before, I'm 6'5", 300 pounds. I'm not little by any means. I am also, not tooting my own horn, but a bona fide badass. I taught self-defense for many years. I hold a master rank in Sanshao Kung Fu. I am no one to be trifled with. I'm also always armed. I see what appears to be a gigantic person standing up at the barn. It is huge. Way taller than me, way wider than me. And my first thought isn't, hey, there's Bigfoot up there. My first thought is, who the hell is on my property? Because I don't live where you can easily just walk onto my property. I live up in the mountain. You got to hike to get to me. So I'm thinking, who the hell is up here and what are they doing up at my barn? Now, most normal people would probably call 911, get the police down there, or do something along those lines. Maybe grab their wife and run inside and lock the doors. I am not a normal person. I don't run. And at least not away. I did run this night, but I did not run away. I instead told my wife to wait there, and I took off running up towards the barn directly at this gigantic thing. Now, obviously, this caught this creature by surprise. It was not expecting a crazy redneck to come barreling through the dark at it, screaming. So it turned and ran away. Now, about 10, maybe 15 yards past my barn is a gigantic fence and gate. I used to have cattle back in the day, so that was where the cattle were, was in that gigantic back field. The back field is rather substantial. It's several hundred yards across to get to the back of it. But about 10, 15 yards past this tree where this thing was standing is the gate. I was maybe, I don't know, 20 yards, 15, 20 yards from this thing, and it took off, and I chased it. By the time I got to where it was, or had been, it was already over the gate and running through the field. So I ran over to the gate. By the time I made it to that gate, which is, like I said, 10, 15 yards away, this thing is jumping over the back fence. Now, like I said, my back field is very large. It's probably at least 200 yards. This thing jumped over the back fence in the time it took me to get there. It had already crossed this field very fast, very large. Now, I still didn't know what I had seen. All I knew was it was something huge. It looked kind of almost reddish, brownish looking, very hairy. It looked like a person. But I've never seen a person run that fast. And I've never seen a person jump the way this thing jumped over that back fence. So I'm thinking, okay, there's something weird here. It had been standing directly underneath this tree that's beside my barn. So I went back and I got my wife inside, got the house locked up, and we settled in for the night. The next morning I went back out to where I had seen this thing because I wanted to try to see if I could figure out what it was, or at least how big it was. Because as it was standing underneath that tree, its head was either touching or almost touching this bottom branch. So I decided what I would do is I would measure from the ground to that branch and see how tall this thing was. Because I couldn't see space in between its head and that branch. From the ground to that branch was over 11 feet. It was almost 12 feet. So I was dealing with something that was almost 12 feet tall and at least twice as wide as I am. And like I said, I'm a big guy. This thing was humongous. Now, unfortunately, there weren't any tracks to see. There was no real physical evidence other than what I saw. But that is the encounter that I had with what I believed at the time to be a Bigfoot. Now let's go back to this print. I had seen the Bigfoot creature there at the house. And now I have this print, this giant handprint. But I'm thinking, what only has 3 fingers? That's weird, right? That's not normal. What could this thing be? So I started doing a little research, and I came across an old story, actually, that I already knew. But I just had forgotten that detail, that it only had 3 toes on its foot. It's the legend of the Fawk monster. You might know it better by the movie The Legend of Boggy Creek. What this thing is it's basically like a Sasquatch-type creature that has been seen in this area of Arkansas. Well, there's Indian legends, like Native American legends, going all the way back to the early 1800s, and there's sightings going back that far as well, but it's mainly known from the sightings in the 70s, but there's been sightings in the 2000s as well. So this is not something that just happens every once in a while. Now, this creature has a 3-toed footprint. So I got to thinking, okay, well, that kind of lines up as far as the 3, but what I'm dealing with wasn't a footprint. What I'm dealing with is a handprint on my windshield. So I started reading a little bit more about this creature and reading about the description of it. It's supposedly to be at least 7 feet tall, sometimes much larger. It is a very large hominoid-like creature, which means it looks like us. It's bipedal. It's a humanoid shape. And it's covered in long hair, either dark brown or reddish brown. That matches what I saw. Has a weight of 250 to 300 pounds. Now, what I saw, I think, must have weighed more than that. And it says its chest is about 3 feet wide. I think my creature was larger than that, what I saw. But there's no saying that it couldn't have been the same thing. Because we know Sasquatches go all the way from around 7 foot all the way up to 12, 13 foot sometimes, depending on the animal you see. So that kind of matches. But the thing that got me the most about it was the 3 toes. Now, what I'm wondering is, this thing obviously was not a footprint that was on my windshield. But in all my research about the Fawk monster from Boggy Creek, there was no mention of its hands. So I wonder if it has 3 fingers as well, or if it has a normal primate-like hand. I also wonder if what I have on my windshield was a partial handprint. Instead of the entire hand, maybe only those 3 fingers and the thumb was on the windshield, because it was in the bottom left corner, and the other one was off the side on the metal, maybe. Maybe that's why I didn't pick that up. But it's just very interesting because I have seen that creature here. Now, there have been a lot of different sightings of this creature from Boggy Creek outside of Arkansas in recent times. Also, there's this phenomenon going on where you have all of these weird footprints that only have 3 toes and then one little one going off to the side. That has happened all throughout the United States. You have it as far over as the deserts where Old Boy lives, in that area of California, Arizona, Nevada. You have it in the middle of the country in Illinois and Indiana and that area. You have it in Arkansas and Kentucky. You have sightings here in Virginia. You have sightings in Pennsylvania and as far north as New York and Maine. And then also there was one that was really weird that I saw that was actually from the Philippines. This guy took pictures of the footprints that he found out in his yard in the Philippines, which was really strange. But it matched exactly all these other footprints that have been seen. Now, all of these footprints that people are seeing, they match that footprint from the creature from Boggy Creek of having only 3 toes and then the one little side. That, to me, is very, very interesting. I wonder, and I have no evidence of this, I don't know, but what I wonder is it possible that this creature, the one from Boggy Creek, is it possible that there are a lot more of these now? Now, you might ask yourself, well, how could that be? Well, if what we're dealing with here is a type of Sasquatch, either a genetic mutation or just simply a different species of Bigfoot, it is close enough to the normal Sasquatch that it's possible for them to mate and reproduce, I would imagine. Especially if it is a normal Sasquatch that just has a genetic mutation to give it 3 toes. So if that's the case, it could be mating with other Sasquatch in the surrounding area, and their offspring might have this genetic mutation as well. Because like I said, these sightings go all the way back to the early 1800s of this 3-toed Sasquatch-like creature. So it's possible that it has made its way across the United States, and you have some of the Sasquatch in each area have this mutation of only having 3 toes. Whether that's from breeding with the creature that had that mutation in the first place, or the offspring of it, or whether it is just some sort of weird mutation that happens to Sasquatch. Who knows? Human beings have that as well. Sometimes you have humans that have like webbed feet, webbed hands. I saw a dude with a flipper once at Walmart that was working in Walmart. Dude had flippers instead of fingers. And it was amazing too, because he worked in the jewelry section. And I always thought that was crazy that this flipper dude worked in the jewelry section. How could you work there with flippers? That didn't make any sense. But I've never seen anybody do jewelry the way this person did it. I mean, they was able to fasten the clasps on necklaces and deal with rings and everything, just like he had fingers, which to me was amazing. But anyway, I digress. We have all kinds of different mutations in human being. You have cleft palates and clubfoot and all kinds of different things that happen sometimes. So maybe the 3-toed mutation is some sort of mutation that happens to Sasquatches. There was an interesting case in humans where there was a genetic mutation and this person only had 2 giant digits instead of 5. So we can see that in a hominoid species it is possible to have these kind of mutations. So that's what I'm wondering is, what left that thing on my windshield, that print? Was that the same thing that I saw up at my barn years ago? Maybe not the exact same creature, but the same kind of creature. Maybe. I don't know. It's still very, very early in this investigation of figuring out what this was. Now, one thing to be concerned about is, in the creature from Boggy Creek, that particular kind of Sasquatch, it is not exactly a friendly creature. This isn't your run-of-the-mill Sasquatch that might yell a little bit or tree knock and then leave you alone. This thing attacks people, and it is very aggressive and very dangerous. Now, if what I saw here that night was one of these 3-toed Bigfoot-like creatures, then I guess I'm pretty lucky that it ran away that night instead of deciding to fight. Because all I had on me that night was my knife. I did not have my pistol. So it might not have gone well. I would have been in a knife fight with a giant Bigfoot-like creature. I might have won. I had a knife, and I know how to use it. But then again, this thing was 12 feet tall and probably weighing in around 500-600 pounds. And just looked like a big, giant wrestler-like creature. It was big. So it might have broke me in half as well. But the creature from Boggy Creek is a very aggressive creature. So I got to keep that in mind because this was up at my barn where I parked my car. That's where this print was on my windshield. So if I'm dealing with an aggressive kind of creature here, then maybe we'll get lucky and it'll actually come at me and I can kill it, and then I can put a video up on YouTube with the pictures of the body. Well, hell, I can do better than pictures if I shoot it. If it dies, I can show you a video of it. I'm not afraid of this thing coming at me because either I'm going to kill it or it's going to kill me. I'm not going to run away. I'm not going to spend my time being afraid. I'd much rather just get it over with. You know, let it come and we'll have it out and we'll see who wins. But in case I do not win that fight, if you hear that I was mauled by a bear or some crazy story like that, just remember I did this show. And remember that it was not a bear that got me. It's whatever the hell this thing was. So I'm hoping that I get a chance to see it. I'm hoping that I get a chance to, well, frankly, to kill it. Whatever the hell it is. Now, I'm not going to go after a normal Bigfoot and try to kill a normal Bigfoot off in the mountains somewhere. But I'm a firm believer that you protect your place. I would never intentionally kill a mountain lion or a bear. But when a mountain lion comes onto my property, into my yard, that's a different story. Then I got to put it down. Because I cannot take the chance of that sneaky bastard killing my wife or my family. I can't allow that. Because see, mountain lions are sneaky. They don't fight you face to face like a man. They hide. They get up above you, usually like in some rocks or a tree or something like that, and they wait for you to walk by and they jump on your back and they tear out your throat from behind. They're cowards like that. So you gotta kill them if they come on your property. You can't allow them to live because if you do, they're not going to give you that same courtesy if given the chance. So if this thing does show itself, if it is indeed aggressive and wants to do us harm, then it will meet its untimely end. Or I will. But I'd put my money on me. Simply because to bet against me would be silly, especially if I'm the one doing the betting. So what I want to do now is I want to throw over to Old Boy. And I want to get his opinion on the print because he saw the pictures. I also want to get his opinion on what I've said here tonight and what he thinks this thing might be. If he thinks I might be dealing with the same creature I saw at the barn, or if he thinks that it might be something completely different. Because we haven't had a real chance to discuss this much since I sent the pictures. I got some feedback from a couple other people on the show, but Old Boy got snow up there in the desert, and I had a lot of snow here. So a lot of our time was spent doing the things we needed to do and not chatting. So this is the first time we really had a chance to get together and really talk since this happened. So I'm going to throw over to Old Boy now and get his opinion.
Thank you, brother. Honestly, I've been looking at the prints, and just to let you know, it looks like it's 3-foot print. So it's not like a regular Bigfoot print, but they're pretty big. And I've seen prints even here in California myself years ago. See, this is something we haven't got to talk to. I have seen these prints before in my hometown in Victorville, California. I've seen these prints before. They're big 3-foot print. And so I'll get into what I think it is. It's a possibility it could be this creature, the Boggy Creek creature, or whatever you want to call it. But the problem is, I've watched a lot about this. It usually comes at you. It's aggressive, and it didn't do that to James. So I don't know if this is the same creature James saw in his yard, the 12-foot, probably 800 to 900 pounds, just to let you know, James, because if it's at that range of 12 feet tall, it's well over 800 pounds. So it's probably 8 to 900 pounds or bigger. So you would have had a lot to deal with. And I don't know if the knife would have killed him. I think with this thing, I don't know. I don't want to say it's a Bigfoot. I don't know what it is. I will tell you this right now. It's not nothing we've ever seen before. It's not like an emu, like, you know, those emu, because see, out in the desert where I live, people actually have emus and they had ostriches. There's people who raised them. You can do it. They had to shut them down here in Apple Valley, the ostrich, but we knew these people who in the desert had emus. They're like a cousin of the ostrich, a little bit smaller, and it got out, and it looks like a 6.5-foot giant bird running around. So people saw this at night, so you got freaked out. But I will tell you a couple stories on this. This is what's weird about this. I used to see this footprint all the time that James had in his house, on his car. And I think it's it's got to be some kind of creature. I don't know exactly what it is. It's no mountain lion. It's no like regular thing you would see, like a bear or something. And I've seen it here. So, and it's been other places, even in Europe. So is this some kind of mutated Bigfoot that has 3 feet? It could be. It's a possibility. Like you said, clubfoot, born with just 3 feet, mutation. Because in Texas, their Bigfoot is actually, they said, is either inbred or mutated, and it's evil. They want to kill the thing because it kills people there, supposedly. So the Boggy Creek is probably the same creature, I think. It's pretty close, Arkansas and Texas anyway. So I think there's different Bigfoots altogether, and this may be a different species of Bigfoot. Or it might be a different species of a giant bird or a creature altogether. It could be a lizard, for all we know. I'm just saying, I don't 100%. These are just possibilities of what I think it could be. And I'll tell you a story in a minute, what I think the Boggy creature is. I think that's a Bigfoot. A different kind of Bigfoot, though. I think there's more than one of them, because I watched the documentary, and the movie originally, they made a movie. It's just a repeat of what really happened in 1972. You can actually see that movie, the Boggy Creek creature, and then it's on Shatter. I have that. It's a horror channel. You can watch it on there, and you can probably rent it. It's pretty interesting. I've watched a lot of documentaries about this thing. I think it's a mutated Bigfoot, and it attacks people. And I don't think all Bigfoots are nice. So, I mean, if they exist, and I believe they do, I don't think they're all the same species. I think this one got messed up somehow. This doesn't, and attacks people and stuff like that. Or it could be a whole different species of Bigfoot we don't even know about. Because it's smaller than a regular Bigfoot. It's like 7-8 feet, not like the 8, 9, 10 feet giant you see and hear about all the time. This one's about 7-ish, 7.5, maybe 8 sometimes. But what I've been hearing, 7, 7.5, and he's hairy, ugly fur. And some people don't even say it looks like an ape-like creature. It's other kind of like a wolf, and there's all kinds of different stories about this thing. But most of the time, it looks like a man with an ape. Kind of a giant body, but it's kind of twisted, like an apish kind of twisted. How it runs with its hand lurking. And what I'm thinking is, maybe is this like a version of Bigfoot? It's related to the orangutan, like a cousin of the orangutan, or the ancestor of it, and it just mutated with a human. I don't know. I'm just giving a thought. Maybe I'm going a little too out there with that. That's what he wanted to know, what I thought what it is and what it could be. That's a possibility. I don't know, but I'll get to the story. What I think. I don't know what it is. Honestly, the possibility is it could be that creature. That's a 50% chance. I don't know. I don't know yet. I've looked up the pictures over and over. I don't really know what I think about it. I think it could be a couple of things, but I think it could be that creature, or it could be something absolutely different than what we think. So, and I will tell you the story now of what I've seen. We used to have this creature we thought that lived in the high desert. And, we're in California, so the chupacabra, people have seen it here. But this wasn't a chupacabra. I was with a couple friends. We were walking in the neighborhood we lived in, and at the neighborhood we lived in, they had 6.5 feet fences. Most of the fences are higher. My friend Tim was 6'4". I'm almost 6 foot tall, exactly around that. My friend Tom's 6'3", 6'2.5", and we were all walking, and this thing hopped over the fence, and this was a 6.5 foot fence, 6'6", caught the edge of the fence with its last foot, and the fence post fell on the ground and just kept running into the desert, guys. And we didn't know what it was. It was huge. It just leaped. It had to be at least 7 feet, because when we saw it, it was like before it jumped, we saw it was taller than the fence. And the fence, like I said, the fence was like 6'4", 6'6", around that area, and it was taller than my friend who's 6'4". So, and it just ran like nothing, but it hopped. It was weird. It was like a hop, but it had 3 fingers, like James has dealt with. And another time, we were all driving in my friend's mom's car. There's like 4 of us, and we see this creature run by, and it was weird. It looked like it looked like a dog, but had like a lion's body with like a kangaroo's head. It was one of the weirdest things, and it was on 2 feet, but it ran away, and it was big. And then one other time I seen it, we were out we called it the back street that we lived on. We would hang out there and do stuff, party and stuff. Well, one night we're driving, it was the middle of the winter, and we seen this thing on all 2 legs that looked like a lion's body, or like a mountain lion, but it had like a weird looking monkey face. It was weird, and it was big. It looked like it was like 7, 8 feet long or longer when it was running. It might be around 9, but it was on 2 feet hopping. It was something we all saw it. I've seen it numerous times. It chased me a couple times. I don't know what it is, but I have seen something in my own hometown that I couldn't explain, and I've seen it numerous times, 3 to 4 times. One night I was walking to the desert, and it was late, and I was probably 17, 18, and I hated walking where this one area is. My house, my friends I lived about 1.5 miles, 2 miles away from my friends, so I would have to walk. Sometimes I would take the other way, because even though I would have to go through the desert, but it was a closer walk. But sometimes I had to walk down the street. There's a church, and it had a weird looking light that had it. It was red, and the cross, it looked really wicked looking. I hated walking this way because it was at least 1/2 mile, and it turned and curved all the way to my house. So it's about 1 mile to my house. One night I was walking, and I heard something. And I used to smoke back then, so I'm like, it was windy, so it's nothing. Or if it was, maybe there's coyotes or something running around, or wind blowing. And I heard it coming up, so I thought it was somebody coming at me. At that time, I used to carry a knife all the time, so I pulled it. It wasn't human. I saw it behind me. I ran. And at this time, I had lost a lot of weight, and I was into sports, so I could run pretty fast. This thing wasn't just running, it was hopping. I seen it was like 7 feet tall. And what it would do is, it was like hopping like I don't even know how to say, like a kangaroo, but it was running at the same time. And it followed me. And I got home, but I had that thing chase me. And I never figured out what it was. Well, the next day, I went out looking in the desert in the middle of the day. I had a knife on me, and I had a friend with me, and we had sticks. We were going to look for this thing. I found this big lay print, and it looked like something had been laying there. It was at least 9 to 10 feet long, with a body of probably it stood about 7, 8 feet. It was huge, and I found him all over the place. So we knew something else was there. We just didn't know what it was. So I don't know what this thing was, but it knew we were out there. We seen it, and then my friend said it chased him too, and he had a stick and he swung on it and took off. So he dealt with it too. So and other people have seen it. We are friends with. So there was multiple times we've seen this creature, but it had the 3 fingers, like James said. It may be not as big, but it was a big print. Whatever went to James's, I don't know. That's weird. It could be in the Boggy Creek creature. It could have been something else. It could have been a lizard man. I'm not going to say. I don't know for a fact, But whatever this was something with only 3 feet. And that's why it's weird that he had this happen, because I've dealt with this and my friends have in my own neighborhood in California. So, and I live in Southern California in the high desert. And at that time in Victorville, California. I actually was on the border of Victorville and Hesperia, California. California is so weird how it is. But yeah, I had the same kind of incident. So, James, thank you for showing me this, because that's what I don't know. I really don't have an answer, but I hope everybody, understands. I took a lot of, I looked at these pictures for a while, and I don't really know what it is, brother. Sorry. But it could be that creature. That's a possibility, brother.
I wish that I would have been able to get a picture that really did it justice. The picture that I sent you, I sent 3, I believe. And those 3 pictures were the best view of it that I could get in a picture. But it didn't really do justice to what I was actually looking at with my eyes. But because it was on the windshield, I just could not figure out a way that I could do it where I could really get a good picture. Maybe if I would have put like a black cloth on the windshield and then taken a picture, something like that, to give it a dark contrast. But I had thought about that, but I thought that if I did that, people would accuse me of faking it. They would say, oh, that was actually on the cloth and you're just seeing it through the window. That's what I would have heard. They would have accused me of faking, and I don't fake evidence, period. I'm just showing you what I have. Like I said, I'll put that picture, maybe all 3 pictures, into the YouTube video so that you guys can at least get a look at what it was. But the picture isn't really the greatest, and that bothers me, because when you looked at it with your eyes as I was sitting there, it was amazing. I was like, wow, look at that. But every time I tried to take a picture of it, I could not even get it to show up for a while on film, to be honest with you. The focus just kept going on the outside, on like the trees or whatever else. And then finally my old lady actually took a picture with her cell phone from the passenger side, from the seat. And I guess that angle enabled us to be able to actually capture the print on the picture. So luckily she thought about taking it from over there, because I had gotten to the point, honestly, where I was about to give up trying to capture the picture of this thing, because I just couldn't get it. I was right up on it. I backed up from it. I took it from the inside, from the outside. I just could not get it to show up right. And she managed to get what we have from the passenger seat. But I don't know for sure that what we're dealing with here is that thing that I saw at the barn, that Bigfoot-like creature. I'm just saying it's kind of coincidental that I saw that, and then literally where the car is parked is like 10 yards away from that tree where I saw the creature at. Now, granted, I saw that creature years and years ago. It was almost 10 years ago, something like that, probably, at this point. But I had seen it there. And then now I have this print on my windshield, and it is literally 10 yards away from where I saw the creature. That's the only reason I'm equating the two. And because that particular Boggy Creek Bigfoot, because that's what I think that monster is a Bigfoot. Some form of a Bigfoot. That creature has 3 toes. And there's a whole lot of sightings of these footprints that have 3 toes all over the place now. And it's really picked up recently. And then all of a sudden I get this print on my windshield that is 3. Now I think that it's 3 fingers and a thumb. That's what it looks like to me. It's 3 fingers together, separated by a little bit of space, and then the thumb is off to the side like an opposable thumb would be. That's what makes me think that it is a hand. Plus, I don't see any way that it could be a foot that left that print on my windshield. How would a foot even get up there? They would have to climb up on the car in order to leave that footprint. And something that large, I would imagine, is going to dent the car. it's going to leave some sort of trace behind that it was there. But it didn't. The car is fine. There's no dents. That vehicle there is a Kia Soul. So you can imagine what it looks like. And there was no dents at all. There was no dirt anywhere on it. I also took a picture of the hood of the car, and it is spotless. There is no dirt. There's no smudges, no nothing where it doesn't appear that anything climbed up on the damn hood of it to leave that print. So the only thing I can think is that it was standing to the side by the driver's side, and it put its hand on the windshield and looked in. You know, kind of leaned over and looked in. That's what it looks like to me. So I thought, okay, if that's the case, then maybe I'll get lucky and there'll be a print on the ground beside the car. Because like I said, this is up by my barn, but my driveway is gravel. Gravel and stone. It's kind of ruddy, and I mean, I live out in the mountains. But it comes up to the top, and there's a big gravel section up at the top where I park my car. A couple feet away from where I parked my car on the driver's side is grass. So I'm thinking maybe I got lucky and this thing walked through that grass there and there'll be a print. Now if the gravel was deep enough gravel, it might leave a print in that too. But unfortunately, most of my gravel is washed away with the snow and the storms and everything that come here. And so I don't have like heavy gravel. I just have basically dirt and rock, and a little bit of gravel left over is what my driveway is. So there was no prints in the dirt. There was no prints in the driveway. I don't know how this thing got to the car. It did not leave any prints. I don't have a trail that I can follow. The only sign of it is the print on the windshield. That's it. Because whatever it is walked up on the stone driveway instead of walking in the grass. Now, one thing I can try to do is actually to scope around the entire area of the barn and see if I see any prints anywhere. That I have not done yet because we got a tremendous amount of snow up here. And so I haven't had the opportunity. We got so much snow, I'll tell you a funny story. We got so much snow this last snowstorm that yesterday I tried to open my front door to go out and shovel my deck and all that kind of stuff so I could get down to the vehicles. And literally I could not open my door. I pushed against that door and it would not open. And I gave it hell. I really pushed hard, and I'm a strong man. And I was able to get it to open like 2 inches, 2 or 3 inches. That's it. But then it started making these like creaking, cracking sounds, the door did. And I didn't want to bust my door all to hell. And I can't get anywhere because there's a ton of snow. So I stopped. So basically yesterday I was just in my house because I just couldn't get out because I couldn't open my damn door. There was too much snow. Today I was able to get out and actually shovel and everything, so it's all good now. But yesterday was a nightmare. So I haven't had a chance to really get up there to the barn to check it out and to really scope the entire area and see if there's prints anywhere. We've had a lot of snow, we've had a lot of ice, so there's a good possibility that I'm not going to find anything. But I am going to go up there and I am going to check. Because we're calling for a lot of rain tonight and tomorrow up here. So hopefully that'll clear out the rest of this snow. And I'll be able to actually get up there and look around and see what I can see. So that's why I thought that it might be this creature, is because I saw it up there at the barn at one time. But like Old Boy said earlier, it could be something completely different. At this stage, I really don't know what I'm dealing with here. All I know is it had 3 toes or 3 fingers. I think it was a handprint. That's what it looked like to me. But it could have been a footprint, maybe. But I don't see how a foot could have got up there. But it has 3 fingers with claws on them, and an opposable thumb. That's what I could see. Now, one thing that you might think is maybe an alien, because that sounds like an alien thing, right? But I don't understand why an alien would be looking in my car. I can understand why a Bigfoot type creature or some other kind of creature would be doing it. Some animalistic kind of creature, because they're not too bright. You know, they have intelligence, but they're not like super smart. So maybe it's seen me in that car multiple times. So it's quiet, it walks up and it looks in the car to see if I'm in there maybe, or see if someone's in there. Or maybe it just wants to know what the hell that thing is, what a car is, it doesn't know. So it looks to see. That I can imagine, that I can understand. An alien would have to be an advanced species, period. I mean, to travel from wherever the hell planet it's from to here, by definition, they have to be an advanced species. That requires an extreme amount of intelligence. So I just don't see why an alien would be looking into my car when obviously I'm not in my car. It's dark. The car's not on. Why would it be looking? It doesn't make any sense to me. But I can see by the clock here that we are just about out of time. I think we could really go on about this one for hours and hours and hours. I will do an update show on this case if we find anything, especially if I get something. And just so everybody understands, so you all don't freak out down in the comment section when I put this on YouTube. If this is a normal Sasquatch, if whatever this thing is not aggressive and does not try to hurt me, then I will not hurt it. If I go out there looking and I see this thing, and it sees me and it doesn't make any kind of move to hurt me, or come at me or be aggressive in any way, then what I will do is I will film it. I will take pictures, I will take video, I will film it for you. But I will not kill it. But if I go up there and this thing even looks at me funny or acts like it's going to start moving towards me or does move towards me in an aggressive manner, I'm going to put it down. And then we will have a body of whatever the hell this thing is to examine and prove the existence of whatever it is. But I don't want everybody to think that I'm just going to go out and... I would not kill a Bigfoot unless it was endangering me or my family. I don't believe in that. I think that Bigfoot is not some sort of monster. I think that it is an animal. Honestly, I think that Bigfoot is Gigantopithecus, which is an ancient ancestor of man. And I think that it is a living creature and it is not evil. I think you have some that are aggressive as hell and are dangerous. That's a whole nother issue. But if it's being cool and it's not bothering me, I'm not going to hurt it. So I just want you guys to understand that. Because when I talked earlier about hunting this thing and killing it, that is assuming that it is aggressive and it's going to try to harm me. So I just wanted to clarify that. With that being said, I'm going to throw over to Old Boy so we can give us shout-outs.
Thank you, brother, and thank you very much to do this show. It was very interesting to find out and try to figure out what the hell this thing is, but I really don't know for 100%. But yeah, I want to give a shout-out to everybody on ParaX for listening to our show. Every week we do something different. You know, I hope you guys enjoy it. I want to give a shout-out to our YouTube listeners. Remember, you guys want to subscribe to James Hershey's YouTube page. He's the bald dude. Push subscribe, and you can be a subscriber and listen to all our great shows from the past and now. I want to give a shout-out to my friend Christina Vasquez and her boyfriend on Saturday, March 2nd, 7 p.m. at the Epic Lounge in Downey, California on 2nd Street at 8239 Street, Downey Street in 2nd, California, if you live in that area. Show starts at 7:30. Happy hour 7:30 to 9:30. There's 4 bands, $8 donation at the door. All proceed benefits is to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, a tribute for preventing suicide. That's what it basically is. And there's 4 bands going to be there: Musehead, Radiohead tribute, The Great Deceivers, King Crimson tribute, The Infinity of Sadness, Smashing Pumpkins tribute. I think it's Vitology. It's a Pearl Jam tribute group. So there's going to be 4 bands. I don't know which one. She didn't tell me which one of these are his bands, but I guess one of them he's going to be singing. So I hope you guys check it out. So I want everybody wants to get any kind of our merchandise also. You can check out our store. He'll tell you where to go. I hope everybody has a great night. I love you guys. Blessed be. Misfits, sugar ladies, monster lovers, and demon hunters. I love you. Have a good night.
The YouTube channel is youtube.com/James Hershey Jr. Please go and subscribe to the channel and check out all the shows and videos we do. There's hundreds of videos there, guys. There's a lot of cool stuff. Also, the merchandise store is teespring.com/stores/staring into the abyss. That's where all the merch is. I'm completely out of time, so I just want to tell you that I love you and thank you so very much for all your support and for checking out our shows. It really means a lot. Until I speak to you again, love many, trust few, and do harm to none. God loves you, and so do we. Bye-bye.